I knew I had turned invisible on the night our anniversary turned into a one-woman show, two champagne flutes sweating on linen like they already knew the punchline, and a waiter hovering with that pitying smile I had come to hate. Then a calm voice behind me said, "You good?" And I looked up into brown eyes with laugh lines and saw a man who fixed things for a living and apparently fixed lonely nights too. He said his name was Miles. He wasn't slick or pushy, just present. And when I told him my husband was a no-show, he shook his head and said, "Two forks and one heart at the table. Whoever he is, he's a fool." And we split a slice of chocolate cake like two friends who had survived worse weather. I went home to the Penthouse Museum, all glass chrome and art that matched the couch, and found the message from Victor's assistant emergency call, "Deep apologies, gift incoming," and I set the box of sapphires under the light and realized they caught light but never kept it. So I pulled a blank canvas and mixed the exact green I'd worn and painted a woman standing taller than I felt. The next morning I went where I still mattered. Bricks and brushes on the west side cinder block walls, and kids with paint on their elbows. Tyler's rocket ship roaring off black paper. Sophie negotiating with purple like it owed her rent. Marcus sketching a skyline from memory, and then a toolbox clicked, and there was Miles in a volunteer tee with sawdust on his cuffs saying, "We keep meeting in rooms with bad lighting," and the kids adopted him in 4 seconds flat. Victor's gift sat on our console like a trophy from a game I didn't want to play Evelyn. My mother-in-law, whose eyes graded everyone on a curve of old money, called to dictate what I would wear to the Lakefront Museum gala smile. Lena stand by his elbow, "Don't interrupt," and I told her with a nice smile that I was working on knowing my place. Might not be where she left it. At the gala, I drifted from Victor's circle of suits and market talk to the silent auction to breathe. Miles materialized like a safe exit. "This piece is trying to be profound, but all I see is expensive glue," he said. And before I could be sensible, he offered a hand. "Dance with me, not to cause a scene, just so you can have 2 minutes. You didn't surrender." And we moved on that small square of floor, while a band did its best, Sinatra, his palm warm at my back, my lungs remembering how to open. "I can't stop thinking about you," he murmured. "Not hungry, just honest. You deserve daylight, not shadows. Tomorrow I'm sending flowers publicly, not to start a war, to say your name out loud." And my stomach did that drop. "You feel on a bridge, reckless," I said. Maybe he said so is being happy when it's easier to be quiet. Saturday morning, a bouquet like July arrived in my kitchen, roses, ranunculus, eucalyptus, and a simple card in block letters for the woman who warms rooms by walking in. Em and Victor came in still half in last night's tux and read it, and something sharp crossed his face. "This is inappropriate," he said, and I pointed at the sapphire box. "You send jewelry like invoices. He sent flowers like a sentence with my name in it. That's the difference, you know what I mean." He tried to fix it with logistics. A museum date, no phones at dinner a weekend away. And at the exhibit, I stood before a painting of a woman's face chopped into squares and said, "That's how you see me, parts that make your life look complete. Wife prop, proof of stability. But not the person who breathes under all that." And he said he wanted to see all of me, so I asked my favorite color, and he guessed blue, then flinched when it was green, has been green since forever. Monday brought the twist that turned whispers into headlines. A public bouquet at Millennium Plaza during an arts education presser. A messenger calling my name, phones up, reporters blinking. And Miles didn't hide behind initials, he signed it, which is the part that made Victor appear in his open jacket and tight jaw as cameras clicked on that thin air between us. "We're leaving," he said under his breath. "I'm working," I said out loud, not shouting, just refusing to vanish. And yeah, that happened. We fought in a car where the driver pretended to be deaf. "Are you sleeping with him?" he asked. and the insult was how small he made the word attention. "No," I said, "I'm doing something scarier." Remembering myself, and at home he offered more structure while I asked for substance therapy. I said alone first, then together. It isn't time management, it's priority, and he laughed in that short way of men who build companies and think intimacy comes with a product roadmap. Meanwhile, the real life I could touch kept happening. I sat on my apartment floor surrounded by 30 scholarship applications and cried the good kind of tears because these kids were incandescent, and life insisted on being expensive. Met Miles at a corner cafe with 2 coffees and a stack of dreams. We narrowed to 5 like the budget required. Then he tapped his phone. "Let's make it 7, he said, like he was adding a beam to a frame, his company, not mine. And we told the kids, and a room full of futures tilted toward the light. I stood on a cliff I had been building for 5 years and finally stepped off. Asked Victor for a separation on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. No slammed doors, just a truth set down between us. Because of him, he said. Because of us. I said, because we don't show up, because I can't be your ghost anymore. And I moved to a 1-bedroom in Pilsen with southlight and floors that creaked like a welcome, learned how loud a quiet apartment is and how it softens when it belongs to you. Grief came in weird shapes, crying over olive oil prices, painting at 2 a.m. because the brain won't clock out. And kindness showed up like a guy with soup and a drill who knew my coffee order, and every kid's name. Miles didn't brand us. He didn't rush me, he loved me in a way that felt like walking through a door I thought was decorative. Months passed and Victor knocked with words I'd wanted once. I'm in therapy. I'm avoidant. I learned that money and praise are my safe rooms. And I believed him, I really did, but love is not a museum you can revisit and suddenly earn an audio guide. Sometimes, by the time you look up, the exhibit has moved on. The divorce finalized on a gray January morning. I left with enough to breathe and work. He kept the empire. Evelyn sent a note that said, regrettable, like she was talking about a chipped vase. My mother mailed me a plant. I tried not to kill. I submitted to a gallery show on transformation, and when the yes came, I called Miles from a windy corner, and he whooped and a stranger clapped. Then he slipped a tourmaline ring on my finger at an Italian place that smelled like garlic and second chances. It isn't traditional, he said. Neither am I said. And we grinned like 16. We got married in a gallery with folding chairs, and Elena's cake with sugar flowers that looked like they knew secrets. Marcus gave a toast about doors and who holds them open. Tyler drew us as superheroes with capes made of brushstrokes. Sophie brought a purple bouquet she arranged herself, and we promised boring Tuesday love, groceries and jokes, and showing up when the camera isn't around. Bricks and Brushes announced an expansion, a real art wing for kids who see the world in impossible colors, and they wanted to name it the Lena Carter Studio, and I said that was too much, and they said it was the minimum. Miles wrote a check with zeros. I haven't made friends with yet. I painted a mural down the entry where the morning light lands and everything looks possible. And then the part that complicates the bow. Victor called steady voice, no theatrics. I want to fund half the wing on one condition. My name stays off it. It's for the kids. I know I can't fix the past. I can build something that outlives my mistakes. And I stood there with a warm phone and a faster heart, because that's a good thing, right? And also a messy thing. So that's my story. The night I became visible to myself, the public flowers that flipped a switch, the separation that hurt and healed in the same season. The kind of love that shows up for the unphotogenic parts. The kids whose envelopes opened and changed the map. And now I'm asking you to step into the mess with me, you know what I mean? Would you take the money from the ex who failed you? If it meant 100 kids got a room where their imaginations fit, is that redemption, math, or real growth? Is a public bouquet romantic or reckless? Was Victor's jealousy a wake-up call or just a last gasp? Drop your take, tell me presence or presence. Which one taught you the truth, and when did you learn it? If this hit where it was supposed to, like the video, subscribe for more real stories and fill the comments with your own. Because somebody out there is waiting to hear that they're not invisible.